Hi guys, Brexiteer and Tory MP Liam Fox was invited onto the Politics Live show to explain what is going to happen next with the failed Rwanda plan. The Supreme Court ruled a few weeks ago that it's unlawful to send people to the African nation as it deemed it unsafe. Rishi Sunak has responded by promising emergency legislation to fix any problems. The new Home Secretary James Cleverly has called it something that I can't say here, and Rwanda has recently turned down any suggestion of a new treaty to resolve the issues. Anyway, Liam Fox seems to be entertaining the idea of pushing ahead with trying to make Rwanda work. Emily Thornberry from Labour schooled him on that.
When it comes to the Rwanda plan, we live within the constraints of a legal system, which is right. That's one of the things that I think we should be proud of in our country.
Right.
Where there is a clash.
You don't want to leave the European Convention on Human Rights?
I don't want to.
But you would?
Would I consider it? Yes, I would. And I think that we do, however, in the case of Rwanda, have to try to find a solution that our courts will be comfortable with, if that is in tune with what our electorate want the government.
Do you think that is achievable? We're expecting this legislation.
Well, we'll see. I do hope that by treaty negotiation we can actually achieve some of the things that we want to do.
It's not achievable. Because the court said two things. The court said, first of all, it's a breach of a whole lot of laws, international laws and domestic laws. And secondly, it said, in any event, the problem about sending people to Rwanda is that the institutions within Rwanda are not sufficiently robust for us to be able to be confident that if we send people there and say, go on, you sort them out, that they won't simply say, oh, actually, they can all go home. Because that's what they did when they had the same sort of deal with Israel. So given that we can't actually trust the institutions at this stage, they said at some stage in the future, Rwanda may be sufficiently robust that we might be able to send people and ask them to make those decisions. But at the moment, we can't. And so the idea that we can have emergency legislation and can have a solution to this in the next few months is for the birds. And, you know, and the new Home Secretary, we know what kind of fruity language he likes. You know, he not
only
onto that talks about, I mean, we'll talk about that in a minute, but, you know, we challenged him and said to him, is it right that you said that the policy on Rwanda was bat, and then his favourite word, crazy, and he hasn't denied it.
Right.
You know, and so that's the Home Secretary who now says Rwanda's not the be-all and end-all. Well, of course it isn't.
Right.
It is a gimmick. It was never going to work. It was unworkable. It was immoral, and it was just simply trying to go, oh, look over here, we're doing something about...
Well, he is up, of course, in the Commons.
Exactly. That's what it's about. It's a gimmick. It's about creating a distraction. Look at what we're doing with immigration. Ignore what we're doing to the NHS. Ignore what we're doing to schools, to the cost of living. Ignore all these things and look at this distraction that is Rwanda. Now, even if it were legal, even if it were actually something that the Tories could actually implement, we're talking about maybe about 200 people per year. Not per month, per year being sent to Rwanda. 150 million pounds has been spent on it so far, and it has achieved nothing. I've said before, the Tories should actually have to reach into their pocket and pay for this if something turns out to be a disaster. They'd be less likely to make such stupid decisions in the future. But it's a distraction. Even the Home Secretary, the new Home Secretary, James Cleverly, has called it batshit crazy. It's a stupid idea. It's not going to work. It can't be implemented, especially if the country receiving the asylum seekers has been deemed unsafe by the Supreme Court. So there's nothing Rishi Sunak can do, unless it's about sending money to try and fix the problem, but that's not going to go down too well. Now, the other point that Liam Fox raised was about the European Convention on Human Rights. So I think this is going to be the fallback position for many headbangers within the Conservative Party. They're starting to realise, look, Rwanda's not working. The new Home Secretary isn't fully on board, so let's push leaving the European Convention on Human Rights, or leaving the Council of Europe, basically. I don't see that maintaining any real support either, but it's going to be their fallback position. That's what they're going to start banging on about next. We need to leave the European Convention on Human Rights in order to stop the boats, and there'll be pressure applied to Rishi Sunak and the Home Secretary to do that. It's not going to happen. They've been banging on about it since 2012, I believe. It's always been used as a threat against immigration. We need to leave the European Convention on Human Rights to stop immigration, to bring down immigration, to stop the boats, whatever. It's not going to work. And it's not designed to work like the Rwanda policy. It's just smoke and mirrors. It reminds me of Article 16 Do you remember Article 16 of the Northern Ireland Protocol? How many times did the Tories threaten to trigger Article 16? Even Boris Johnson himself. At the end, nothing came of it. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.